Hi family, it's Marlika with another episode of Essence Check, a series where I try and review wines based off the scope, the smell, and the sip, helping you find out what you like in your wine. So let's get to the heart of it. So today, I'm going to be trying Sparkling Rosé. Front of the bottle, you got these really pretty looking tree flower things, kind of reminds me of like the Lorax truffula trees, and Huber Sparkling Rosé. And on the back of the bottle, Huber Sparkling Rosé. This is our sassy and sophisticated rosé, a refined blend made from local grapes grown in Austria. Let's bring some fizz into your life, the perfect way to cool down after a long days or to celebrate life. It's wine o'clock anytime. Imported by Broadbent Selectin, incorporated in Sonoma, California. It is a dry rosé wine, a certified sustainable wine at that, vegan with an alcohol by volume of 12%, coming out of the Traisental region in Austria, a smaller and newer wine region in Austria that goes along the Traisental River. This river also touches parts in Germany as well. More of a cooler wine growing region. This region mostly is known for Riesling and Gruner Veltliner. These are some grapes that are just good for some cold weather. This particular blend of rosé is going to be made of Pinot Noir as well as Zweigelt. And Zweigelt is an Austrian native. She's a blend of Blaufränkisch, another native, and Saint Laurent. With these grapes, you're going to expect red fruit flavors and notes like cherry, strawberry, and even some floral rosiness to it too. I tend to describe rosés as baby red wines. Whereas the red wine gets a lot of skin contact, the grape skins sit in the juice for a little bit longer, getting a deeper color. Rosés are not as long. Whether the winemaker decides to kind of release some juice prematurely or just remove the skins altogether from the juice, that's their own personal decision. It gives you those similar notes to a red wine, like that red fruit. Sometimes it can be a little bit floral. However, most times you're not gonna get as heavy tannins because the skin doesn't sit as long, so there's not that much skin contact. And then you also just get a little bit more of a lighter body. And for serving temp, I want this wine as cold as possible. With sparkling wines, the colder the better because it preserves those beautiful bubbles. And we love a bubbly. So I put it in the fridge and I took it right out and I'm opening her up. My favorite part about opening sparkling wine, you don't need anything but a napkin in your hand. Because this is carbonated, it's kind of dangerous, you know. Use discretion when you open your wine. I rest my hand on top while I take off the foil. There's usually a little tabby that you can tear around. Take it all the way off. There's also going to be a cage. This is extra protection, keeps that cork in there until you're ready. So finger on top, we're going to twist and twist and twist and twist and twist. It's a lot of twisting. Until she's like this. Towel all the way over and we're going to slowly twist. And there we have it. So as you could tell, it wasn't a big pow and the cork didn't fly everywhere. And that's really good, that's what we want. Although it's fun and it makes for like a little bit more of a celebratory thing. With your sparkling wines, you want to keep as much CO2 in here as possible to keep those bubbles fresh. So when you pop it, half of the CO2 goes up into the air and not here giving you these pretty bubbles. Most sparkling wines are traditionally served in a champagne flute. You know, you got your Prosecco, your Cava, your Champagne. They're gonna be in a champagne flute. However, although she's gorgeous, she's pretty, she gives me lovely bubbles. Look at how those bubbles just, ooh-wee, give you a nice foamy head at the top. It's kind of hard to, as pretty as she is, it is hard to swirl and do all of that. So I'm going to be sipping my wine from a white wine glass. Do whatever makes your heart happy, guys. It's just wine. For the color, it's giving like a salmon. It's not really like pink. And it's not really rosy either. It's like a salmony, peachy pink. My favorite part is these bubbles, child. You can see a small, tiny stream of the bubbles keep going. And that is just giving me a hint that, they probably did this the traditional method. When producing sparkling wines, there's several ways to do it, several ways to skin a cat. Crush your grapes, get your juice fermented like you traditionally would, and then put all your juice in a steel tank. Add some yeast, some more sugar, and ferment it one more again. Or you can add in the carbon dioxide manually and carbonate it that way in a steel tank. Or you can take the traditional method. So after they ferment the wine, how they normally would, it's still still wine, and they put it in an empty bottle. Put some yeast in, they put a little bit more sugar in, and they top it. And what happens is really, really cool. It's very sciencey and nerdy, but the yeast eat the sugar, and one of the things in addition to alcohol that yeast produce is carbon dioxide. So because there's nowhere for it to go and it is in the bottle, it's just bubbling and brewing and creating gorgeous bubbles in here. Once all the yeast die off, they've eaten all the sugar, they fall to the bottom of the bottle. So I put some salt in the bottle for demonstration purposes. It's going to be our yeast. Get into it. Yeah, so this is what happens. Most times it's a lot more. This is our yeast. Sits at the bottom of the bottle. There's still wine in here. They'll sit at the bottom, the wine's in the whole bottle, and this is carbonated. And then the wine is usually stored on a slight angle like this in a little rig system. Now, most times, machines that can do it and shake the bottle and get the yeast to gradually, without disturbing the wine too much and mixing it up, to fall to the bottom. Unless they're real old school and they got somebody down there in that cellar every day turning it just a little, until the yeast falls all the way to the bottom. This is a very long process. And they have everything at the bottom. They dip it in some liquid nitrogen or something that freezes it and just simply remove the yeast. And now they have a bottle of wine free of yeast and anything else like that, and they can top it off to refill it up to that mark where they want it to be, cork it, foil it, and send her on her way. And that is how you make sparkling wine in the traditional method. So folks that enjoy champagne and cava, most times those are going to be traditionally made sparkling wines. And from the way these bubbles are kicking in this wine, it is going, baby, they still going. When you create the bubbles in the bottle versus in a tank, the bubbles are fresher and they last longer. That being said, winemaking isn't as rigid as you would think. There are also some producers that make natural style wines. So when they finish with that second fermentation, they just let everything rock, let nature work and do its thing. And it's really cool and it tastes great and you get a lot more depth and character and complexity. It's not as refined, you know, it's funky, it's cool. Give her a smell. So it is a pretty light intensity. It's not too strong, like strawberry and like really light cherry. Maybe there's a little peachiness to it too, like some light stone fruit. That's pretty cool. Everything is fresh, nothing is ripe, not even a juicy. There's like some little rocky, so potentially some minerality. Fresh red fruit. Some cement, so some minerality, some stoniness. Not orange peel, but like the white part of the orange, so orange pith. It's like a little citrusy. And it's not like lemon or lime. So let's give it a sip. Oh my gosh. She is so tasty. Raspberries, still very fresh berry. Think berry blast freshness. Raspberry and strawberry. Fruit is a little bit more present, and the florals give me like Japanese cherry blossom. It's very fitting because they're starting to bloom outside. You don't really get that stoniness anymore. Stoniness kind of, whereas everything else echoes the nose, meaning the stuff I smelled is still the stuff I taste, minus that stoniness. And then the taste is a little bit more of that like mandarin orange. Like if you've ever had those like cup of fruits and they have like the fruit cocktail ones, but the ones with the oranges specifically, cup of fruits, the little mandarins, big on that in here. For acidity, I would say it is on the higher end. However, it's not high. It's not racing acidity like a Riesling, but I am still salivating throughout this, which is great. Like it's making me wanna again and again and again. Like I nodded towards earlier, for a tannin level, this isn't going to be extremely high. I don't get any dry mouth sensation from this. If I do, it's very, 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 very small. Subtle right here, and the acidity kind of takes it away. So I would say low tannins. If you don't like that dry mouth feel, this is it for you. And for body, still pretty light. Probably around like the same body as that Albarino I tried. So somewhere between light and medium body. Great bubbles, great wine, you know? She's giving me cherry blossom season. I go for walks in the springtime. I love to take pictures of flowers. So she just reminds me of a springtime walk. Tons of flowers, tons of floral, but it's still a little breezy because it's not overly fruit forward. It's got a balance between your fruit and your florals. So nothing's like clashing, and we're still doing this. I honestly don't want anything heavy with this because it's just so light. I just kind of want to graze over a nice charcuterie board. Really like light cheese, like I could do a brie with this. Really nice and creamy, not really sharp flavors. Grapes, some strawberries, some mandarin oranges. A lot of flavors that echo the wine I would like to pair with it because it is just so light. I don't want a full meal. Just a nice little cheese board. Sip and be cute and graze and eat and all that good shit. Well, thanks for watching today, guys. I hope you did learn something, and if you didn't, that you at least enjoyed yourself. Make sure that you're following Her Plates on Instagram and subscribe to the YouTube channel for all things food, wine, and love. Until next time, cheers! Also, shout out to Roni Roan. You the realest. One of the best birthday gifts, because she knows my heart. She knows how I feel about wine, and this wine specifically. She see me eyeing it at work all the time. Shout out to you, girl. You